Being stocked in retailers like Selfridges, Liberty London, Oliver Bonas, Urban Outfitters is every small business's dream. But how do you get stocked in retailers like this, and what steps can you take to give yourself the best possible chance of buyers replying to you when you are reaching out to them? Well, in this video, I'm going to share exactly that, and we're going to go through your branding, your marketing, and lastly, your pricing, which means that when you're reaching out to retailers, you are setting yourself up in the best possible way for negotiation and to get yourself stocked in those stores. Hi, I'm Lucy Hitchcock. I'm the founder of Partner in Wine and Sassy Digital. I'm a marketer by trade. Partner in Wine is my best case study. I make insulated wine bottles, tumblers, iced coffee cups, picnic blankets, wine journals, and if you follow me on social media, you may recognize me from my viral wine reviews. Now, first and foremost, why would you want to be stocked in a department store? You make less money from selling direct to consumer. And to be honest with you, sometimes it can be a bit of a faff and a bit of ag. However, being stocked in major retailers tells the world two things. It tells the world that you are one of the top businesses in that particular sector, and you deserve a space on that all-important retail floor. Secondly, it's absolutely brilliant for marketing. It's great for adding to your story on socials. It's great for putting on your website. If you are stocked in a retailer, it means that they have a level of trust in you, which then means consumers can also trust you when shopping directly with your business. Partner in Wine was stocked in Selfridges just 7 months after launching, and it's a really interesting one because when I first started the brand, I said to my parents, I said to my brothers, and I said to my friends that one day Partner in Wine would be stocked in Selfridges. Now I'm going to start this video by telling you a little bit of a story about exactly how I got stocked in Selfridges. That was my very first retailer, it was my goal retailer, and it happened after just 7 months. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because you are going to pick up some key bits of information along the way, which we are going to talk about in this video. The week before I got an email from Selfridges asking if I would like to be stocked there, I went on a walk with my older brother, and he said to me, Lucy, look, Partner in Wine is going really, really well. Branding is amazing, loads of people seem to really love it and be resonating with it, and I think it's finally time that you get in touch with Selfridges. And I said to him, no, Selfridges will come to me. Just 5 days later, I got an email in my inbox from Selfridges saying they were interested in stocking Partner in Wine. But why were Selfridges so interested in stocking my brand? Well, simply put, the day that they got in touch with me was the day that Partner in Wine had its first viral TikTok video. I posted a video telling the story of my business to date and how I'd gone from selling absolutely nothing and launching all the way to making 5 figures per month. I'd watched loads of other small businesses go viral on TikTok by doing just that, telling their story, and the rest was history. I stitched loads of footage together that I'd taken from behind the scenes. I'm constantly filming myself, and I put a voiceover on it, a trending sound. I told the story of why I'd started the business. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because your brand story is so important in helping you appeal to the masses, and especially appealing to retailers. That is what branding is all about. If you haven't nailed your brand story or what it is that your brand stands for, it's unlikely that other people are going to know that either. It's also unlikely that your products will then appeal to them. Partner in Wine started out of a necessity when I couldn't keep my wine cold during a socially distanced drink in the park, and that has always been the core of my brand story. So anything I launch outside of that then ties really nicely into my core messaging and my key brand story that will always be there. Originally, when I was stocked in Selfridges, and even now being stocked in Liberty, there's a little placard next to my products which actually tells my brand story. And I think even in store, that's a really important part of your branding, because not only do your products speak for themselves, but giving people a little bit of a backstory of exactly why it started and context around that product can really help consumers' decision to buy. But branding, of course, comes in 2 parts. The first one is your brand story, and the second is the look of the product. This is the Partner in Wine packaging. This is the limited edition Sage from last Christmas. As you can see, the packaging is very, very on brand, on point. It looks nice, it's appealing, and it's also kind of intriguing. When thinking about your branding, it's really important that you think about your brand name. Does it resonate with people? Do they understand in that moment what that product does, what it relates to, and how it can help or solve a problem for your customer? And is it going to look nice on the shop shelves? The moment I held the first OG pink Partner in Wine packaging in my hand, I looked at it, and that was the moment that I said to my parents, this product is going to be stocked in Selfridges. Although first and foremost and initially the packaging would only be online and you would only receive that after you placed the order, I knew that in order to be stocked in the shops that I wanted to be stocked in, I had to get the packaging and the key messaging on the packaging right from the very beginning. And when I initially spoke to my first buyer at Selfridges, the one thing that he said to me, and I will never forget this, was that the product just looks amazing, the branding is amazing, and the brand story and the way that the brand looks absolutely everywhere that you will find it, whether that is our website, on social media, is so strong and so key. So if you're thinking whether initially packaging makes sense for you to do, if your goal is to be stocked in a retail store, you 100% need to consider these things, even if you're not doing them initially, just to know that if a retailer gets in touch or you get in touch with a retailer, how is your product going to look on the shelves and how can you communicate that with them? The second thing you need to consider is your marketing. All buyers are interested in is knowing that the products that they buy to put in that store are going to sell. And so there are two ways that they determine that. One is your social following and two is your sales stats. Now I know a lot of small brands who have been stocked in retailers like Selfridges and other luxury department stores without actually having very much of a following at all. However, in this day and age, retailers are looking to get people offline, not shopping on e-com, into their store and buying from them. And the best way of doing this is them getting independent brands in, which is amazing for us small businesses. So I'm not saying that a social following is totally necessary, but it definitely helps with the next two things that I'm about to tell you. First and foremost, having a following on social media is social proof. As much as we like to say the numbers don't matter, it's only the numbers in your bank account that matters, you could have 300 really engaged followers who buy from you every single month. That is absolutely brilliant. You will need key stats to show a buyer if you do not have a huge social media following. Growing a following is a huge part of being stocked in retailers, and that is unfortunately because social following is social proof. If a brand has a huge amount of social media followers, then the shops know that they can get customers in because you will promote that your products are now stocked in your dream department store. It also means that they know that people like you, like your brand, and like your products. Then you won't need to show them sales data. Whereas if you have a smaller amount of social media followers, you are going to need to provide key sales figures and stats to those buyers in order to show that you have sales potential within their store. If you want to know how to grow your following on social media, make sure you check out my last video, which was all about how I grew my social media following. I will leave the link up here. You can find out all the ways that I tried and tested to grow my social media following, the good, the bad, and the waste of time ugly. And that means you'll know the ones that are worth pursuing and the ones that aren't. I would really advise that you make sure you have a good social media strategy, because even if you don't have a huge following, they are going to want to see that you're posting regularly, you've got quality content, and there is potential there for you to grow. Lastly, let's talk about pricing. You need to know whether your products are priced correctly so that you're turning a profit. And secondly, you need to know that your products are priced correctly so that you can reach the margins that retailers expect from you. Now, if you're not stocked in a retailer, you might be thinking, Lucy, what the hell are margins? Margins are the price that retailers need to hit in order for them to warrant having your products in store and actually make money from selling your products wholesale. Different retailers will expect different margins, and different sectors within those retailers will expect different margins as well. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how do I know what the margin is? Margins work in percentages, and there's a couple of ways that you can actually find out what margins are in those sector. First and foremost, you could ask someone who is already stocked in a particular retailer, or you could ask someone who is already stocked in a particular sector in some kind of retailer and what margin that wholesaler expects from them. And number two, you could actually just ask the buyer themselves. Now, I'm not an expert in wholesale or retail, and I actually probably wouldn't do this myself, only because I think if you ask them what margin they expect, you're slightly on a back foot when it comes to those negotiations. When I negotiated my wholesale rate with Selfridges, they actually got in touch with me, so they wanted my brand, and therefore I was on a front foot, and I was able to say to them, well, this is what I want to sell it to you at. And we kind of met on the middle ground. And we kind of met in a middle ground when it came to negotiations. Your other friend will be Google. Have a little look and see what you can find. Now, the last question I want to ask you about pricing is, how have you priced your products? Have you priced them in a way that feels right for what that product is in that certain market? Have you looked at what your actual costs are to make that product, what your time is that has gone into that product, and what your marketing costs are that have gone into that product as well. Once you have a landed cost for a product, whether you make those products yourself or you rely on a factory, once you have all of those costs land, including shipping, unit price, VAT, any taxes and duties that you need to pay, you need to then put those costs into a spreadsheet. Now, if you're not really sure what this spreadsheet needs to contain, I've linked my margin calculator below, and this is a spreadsheet that allows you to calculate all of the costs for a certain product. It allows you to do different discounting situations, and it also helps you to work out what your wholesale margins can be. You need to get your pricing down to a T before you get in touch with retailers. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you will make a very slim margin a lot of the time, especially when it comes to big retailers. You need to make sure that you're covering your costs first and foremost, and that you are going to make money on these. Yes, it's a marketing opportunity to be stocked in stores like this, but no, I don't think anyone should be losing money just to say that they are stocked in a certain shop. If your margins are really, really slim, things that you can do to still work with retailers if you're desperate to be stocked there is to make sure that you have good minimum order quantities set in place. So this could be your box size, which for me is 24, so I have 24 units in one box, or you can have a minimum order value, i.e. the total value of the order monetary, but these are all things to consider when you are doing your calculations. Some retailers also have strict delivery times, and that means that you have to, unfortunately, get couriers or pallet delivery that can be way more expensive than an all-day delivery time slot. Overall, I've had a really positive experience working with various different retailers and building relationships with those retailers, and I would highly recommend that if you do want to get stocked in those stores, it is a really fruitful, positive, can be hard at times situation. I would highly encourage you to go and do so. Now, I hope these tips helped that I shared with you today. If you have any more questions on being stocked in retailers, please do slide into my DMs over on Instagram at LucyHitchcock_. I would love to hear from you. And if you're enjoying my videos on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I release a new one every single Sunday at 6 p.m. But for now, I'm wishing you all the success in your business, and I hope that you get stocked in your dream retailer. Bye.